Well, I hope we're all doing well. We are continuing with our weekly portion review, and this week we are in the portion of Mishpatim, the law. Now, this Torah portion is really an expansion on the Ten Commandments. We get into more detail with regards to the legal and the divine commandments, which ultimately end up forming the book of the covenant. And this is really the sealing of Israel's bond with God. What I want to focus on today is where we could actually see the divine touch in the laws of the Torah. Now, the uniqueness of the Torah really lies in the fact that it was given from heaven, and this is really our direct communication from God with us. And really through it, we are connected to, as we say in Hebrew, the one who spoke and brought the world into being, right? Misha Amar V'Haya Ha'olam. And all other legal systems in the world really serving as a preparation for the Torah. Really, in other words, or in ancient times, there were definitely religious and righteous leaders or individuals who positively influenced humanity, and by doing so, they were really elevating the morality of society even before the giving of the Torah. This is alluded by our sages, that they say derech eretz, which is interpreted to the way of the land, but actually proper conduct, preceded the Torah by 26 generations. And really, from there, we learn the well-known phrase of derech eretz kadma la Torah, right? Proper conduct precedes the Torah, meaning there had to be a moral preparation before the Torah could actually be received by the world. And we see this also in the Code of Hammurabi, which it contains many laws that actually foreshadow the laws given to us in this week's portion. Now, in other legal systems, we find reference to murder in criminal law, stating that whoever commits murder receives such and such punishment. However, in no legal system or legal code other than the Torah do we find the fundamental prohibition against murder itself, right? So we could say that in the Torah, we really see an expression of God's divine will, and that certain actions must be done while others must not be done. And our connection to the divine is mediated then through the legal system. We saw this in the previous portion when Moses is explaining to Jethro, when they have a matter, they come to me to seek God, right? And in this context, it's actually interesting that the Talmud viewed Rome as the wicked kingdom, and precisely because it invented a legal formalism, which famously could be encapsulated in the phrase "dura lex sed lex," right? The law is harsh, but it is the law, right? So according to this approach, the question is not whether one is just or moral, but whether the law is on one side. It is on one side or not, right? If the law is with me, I'm fortunate. If not, then it's not looking too good. And this was Rome's wickedness. As an example, in Roman law, right, if I owed you money and I couldn't pay you back, I could be sold into slavery, I could be executed, and even my corpse itself could be handed over as payment. Now, let's say in contrast in the Torah commands that when a person collects a debt, right, they must actually leave the debtor with a minimal living conditions, and they are forbidden from humiliating them, right? So we could see that the Torah actually restrains the legal formalism from going to its absolute extreme. Now, to be fair, in Jewish law, we do have a principle such as there's no mercy in judgment, right? Once the court convenes, justice actually must be pursued fully. However, this goes alongside other principles we have, which also in the Talmud we teach and learn, that this is the law, but we don't rule accordingly, right? So certain cases where intentionally we refrain from enforcing the strict letter of the law, and we seek to find a compromise. Now, from a historical perspective, there's also is a purpose for the existence of the Roman law. If we're looking at things from a bird's eye view, right? All these things ultimately are done by God, and the Talmud tells us that the son of David, right, Messiah, won't come until the wicked kingdom, which is Rome, has ruled over Israel for 9 months. Now, I'm not looking at that 9 months as literal. It's really suggesting that the world itself can't immediately transition from a barbaric state to a state that's fitting to the coming of the Messiah. Instead, we first have to pass through this intermediary stage, shifting from a world of barbarism to one governed by Roman law, or we could look at it the Western world, and only then the arrival of Messiah. Now, we are living in very tumultuous times, and we see governments doing their best or purposely failing in trying to accommodate some sort of reasonable and rational and moral law with the barbarism that still plagues us. And so we have to realize that trying to avoid our roots and the divine commandments that God has given us ultimately only leads for one going astray. And we have to be wise and remember that the Torah and God's will, He has given us a tremendous gift, and we should focus and do our best into following His path. I wish us all a Shabbat Shalom and a safe and productive week.